Hi everyone, I just wanted to make another video about doing oil changes on my car. My last video was fairly popular. It got a couple thousand views and a couple people asked me to do an update, so here I am. Okay, so if you recall in my last YouTube video I talked about how I do not do oil changes every 3 months or 3,000 miles. Instead what I do is I obey my car's dashboard computer, which monitors various things relating to the condition of the oil inside of my engine. And in practice, by following the computer, I end up doing oil changes about once every 6 months or once every 7,500 miles. Initially, when I first got my car in 2005, I did the 3-month, 3,000 mile oil change routine, but I switched over to obeying the computer about 3 years and 50,000 miles ago. And I would just like to say that my car is still running fine. I've had no real problems. The engine doesn't sound any different or any worse. And actually about a year ago, I took my car to a mechanic, and I just had him do a general systems check on everything, and he said the car was running fine, and it should last me like another 10 or 15 years if I keep it up. Now, I understand why people are hesitant to ditch the 3-month, 3,000 mile rule for changing their oil. No one wants to mess up their car's engine just to save a couple bucks on oil changes. But if you research the subject, you'll discover that switching will in fact not hurt your engine. Now, 3 years ago, when I first got the idea to start doing oil changes based on what the computer told me, I was also kind of cautious, and so I did research into the subject that really ended up putting my mind at ease. The first thing I did was I looked at my car's manual, and the manual, of course, is the official publication put out by your car's manufacturer. And my manual didn't make any mention of the 3-month, 3,000 mile rule for doing oil changes. Instead, it explicitly said to go by the car's computer. Second thing I did, because I still wasn't convinced, was I went online, I looked at the official General Motors website. My car is a General Motors car, and some YouTube videos that they put out, and in all cases General Motors said, obey the car's computer, do not do the 3,000 mile, 3-month thing, your car will be fine. The third thing I did, because I still wasn't convinced, was I actually called up 2 different General Motors dealerships in my area, and I talked to mechanics in their service departments. And I asked them if it was okay to go by the computer, and all of them said it was. They told me that just in general, cars made within the last 10-15 years can go at least 5,000 miles between oil changes, but they said going by the computer was fine too. And fourth and finally, because I still wasn't convinced and I still didn't want to take the risk unless I was absolutely sure, fourth and finally, I just did a lot of general research online. I looked at studies that have been done by Consumer Reports, by like Car and Driver magazine, any number of other I guess car analytical or rating firms, and they all consistently said the 3-month, 3,000 mile rule is no longer necessary. You can change your oil half as frequently as that, and it will not hurt the engine or your performance. So if you still don't believe me, what I suggest is that you repeat the research that I did, okay, and just do it on your own, and I'm sure that you will reach the same conclusions that I did. 30 years ago, cars were a lot worse than they are today, and 50 years ago they're even worse than that. But Cars were a lot less reliable in the past, and indeed you did have to change the oil every 3 months or 3,000 miles, or else you'd experience a breakdown or some kind of malfunction. Cars have gotten a lot better since then, but the 3-month, 3,000 mile rule of thumb still persists anyway, even though you don't have to change your car's oil that often anymore because the engines are better. Companies that make engine oil and businesses like Jiffy Lube that do oil changes, they want you to keep changing your oil every 3 months or 3,000 miles. They keep perpetuating this myth, and people keep buying into it because they're really not really willing to take risks, and maybe they're just not, they just haven't done the research that people like me have done. Those companies, they gain financially in a very direct way from people who do oil changes more frequently. Really that's it. Every other rating firm, every other expert who doesn't have a direct financial motive will tell you that modern cars can go on average 6,000 miles or 6 months between oil changes without having any kind of problem. Okay, so you can really change your oil as often as you want. You can believe me, or you cannot if you want. But if you change your oil every 3 months, 3,000 miles, it will not make your car run any better. It will not keep your car functional for any longer. You're just going to be wasting your money. So with all that being said, I'm going to do another oil change, and I'm going to show you exactly how it's done. So in order to change our oil, we need a couple tools, and I've laid everything out here for us to see. First, over there we have an oil change pan or a container. I got that from Walmart. It cost me about $10. The oil will drain out of the bottom of your car and into that container, and then you will take that container at the end to a local hardware shop or whatever, and you will recycle it. Over here we have a ratchet. It's a large one. This is an extender for the ratchet, and this is a 1 1/4 inch hexagonal piece. We use all of this stuff to get the oil filter out. This is a number 15 metric wrench. We're going to use that to go underneath the car and to unscrew the oil plug. And once we do that, the oil will drain out of the bottom and it'll go into the container. Over there we have a replacement oil filter inside of its box. I have just sort of a sandwich-sized plastic bag here that we'll put the used oil filter into, just so it won't drip everywhere. And there, of course, we have 5 quarts of natural oil. It is not synthetic. This will be poured into the engine once the old oil is drained out, and this will protect our car for another 7,500 miles. That funnel right there will assist you in pouring the oil into your engine without making a big mess. One thing really fast about oil, and I know this is probably going to generate a lot of controversy, but it really doesn't matter what type of brand of oil you get. They're all pretty much equal. Oil is oil. It's just, you know, whether you're using Quaker State or Pennzoil or the Walmart brand, it's just oil, and then there's an additive package. The additive packages are more or less all the same. I think with oil, the only real difference is if you buy natural oil versus synthetic. If you get synthetic oil, it'll, you know, you will be able to go even longer between oil changes, but I have not seen any real evidence that Quaker State versus Pennzoil versus whatever else, you know, among natural oils yields any type of difference, you know, whether you put it in your car. So my recommendation would be, when you're getting all of your stuff, to do your oil change, just get 5 quarts of whatever the cheapest oil is, wherever you go. Okay, so now let's get started doing the actual oil change. Okay, so here's my car. It's a base model 2005 Chevy Cobalt sedan. Nothing special, nothing fancy, nothing expensive. I got it new in 2005. Haven't had any major problems with it. Okay, so let me just go inside here. So as you can see here, looking at the dashboard computer, I have 106,000. Wait. I have, okay, change oil life 0%. It just got down to 0 yesterday, so it's kind of important that I, change the oil as soon as possible. I have 106,579 miles on this car that is 7 years old. Right now it is late July, and the last time I changed my oil was in January, and at that time I had 98,900 miles. So it looks like I've gone just a bit more than 7,500 miles and more than 6 months this time from one oil change to another. Okay. Okay, so the first step is to take out the oil filter from inside the car. So first you want to pop the hood. Okay. Just come in here, open that. And if you notice here inside the car, you can't really see what's going on because there's this big black plastic piece right here. You want to reach in here, grab that, rotate the cap and pull it out. Then this entire piece will lift out. Okay, just set that aside. Now, you have to bring the camera in a little bit closer here, but looking in, right there's actually a, I guess you could call it a cap, and it has a hexagonal piece that sticks out. We need to unscrew that in order to get the oil filter. So in order to do that, I have this tool right here. This is like an oversized automotive ratchet, I think. This is the ratchet itself, and this is an extender, and at the end of the extender I have a hexagonal piece here. It is 1 1/4 inches. Just put it back together. Alright, so this fits snugly over the top there. I'm going to loosen it. Okay, should just take a couple turns. Alright, put that aside. And I have a little plastic bag here, like a sandwich-sized bag. We're going to put the used oil filter in that. You'll see why in a second. Okay, here's the cap itself. Just pulled that out, some oil coming out of it. Put that aside. Now we have to get the filter out. Ugh, this might be a little messy. Here, I'll just try to use this to nudge it out. You could just reach in with your hand, but it's just very hot right now, and I'm not sure I want to do that. Okay. Ow. Okay, there we go. Alright, I'm going to put it in the bag before it drips everywhere. Alright. That's our used oil filter. That's what it looks like. Get it bagged as soon as possible. So we got our old oil filter out. Now we're ready to move on to the next part, which is pulling the plug out of the oil pan.